Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of InvestStream. I'm Pankaj, and today we're going to be talking about how you can get started as an angel investor. Coming up next. Welcome back everyone. So, angel investing is something that has been gaining popularity over the last 10 years. A lot of people all over the world that have excess capital have been deploying money on a personal level into startups. And it's not something that most people plan to do. It's something that usually just kind of happens because you've met a really interesting startup, you have met an incredibly passionate founder that you just really want to help. There's a lot of different reasons why people get into angel investing, but it's becoming more and more of an asset class that people want to allocate some money to. So, how do you get started as an angel investor? Well, the first thing that you should do is probably create an account on AngelList. I'll be sure to include the link in the show notes below. But once you've created an account, now it's time to create a profile. Much like a LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter profile, you should create a AngelList profile that captures all the work that you've done. If you are a lawyer, for example, and you've worked with startups before, talk about some of the startups that you've worked with and what you've helped them with. Once you've created your profile, the next thing to do is start following founders, startups, and investors. You can use AngelList's search function to go out and find investors, founders, and startups that meet the criteria that you're interested in. Start following a bunch of them. If there are founders and startups that you've already worked with, definitely follow those as well. The second thing that you should do after you've created your AngelList account and your profile and followed a bunch of folks is really sit down and think about what's your investment thesis. Are you going to be investing in startups in a particular domain, a particular geography, at a particular stage? I know folks that their whole investment thesis was, I will only invest in founders that have graduated from Stanford, right? I know people that have a thesis that says, hey, I'm only going to invest in consumer companies coming out of India. Figure out what your thesis is, write it down, think about stage, sector, geography, anything else that you think is important. Make a note of those things. Within your thesis, you also probably want to make note of what check sizes you're going to write and how many deals you want to do within a particular year or 2 years or 3 years or 5 years. That way you outlined a budget for yourself and you know, okay, on average, I'm going to be writing a check size of X. I'm going to do Y number of deals per year. And hence, this is how much money I'm willing to put at risk on a yearly basis. You are putting money at risk. Chances of you ever making money on angel investing is probably close to zero. But some people decide that they want to do it. So again, this is not investment advice. This is just, this is not investment advice. All I'm trying to do is explain to you what are some of the things that you can do if you've already decided to become an angel investor and start helping startups. Once you've identified, now you can go back to AngelList and start searching for companies that fit that criteria. They might be at a certain stage, so perhaps they haven't raised a Series A yet. They are companies that are in a particular geography. They're companies that are in a particular vertical that you're interested in. Once you've created your thesis, now it's time to go back to AngelList and start searching for companies that could be raising around or are actively raising around right now. Once you've identified some of those companies that fit your criteria, contact them. Ask them if they take a meeting or get on the phone if they're in a different location. Once you've met with the company, you have some idea of what the deal terms are going to be, what the valuation is going to be, and how much of a check size you could write. You probably don't want to take a whole lot of time before you get back to the founders and let them know yes or no, only because as deals start becoming competitive, founders are under a lot of pressure to move very quickly, and investors that are taking time in getting back to them might not make it into the round. So you probably want to be a little bit more proactive and let founders know as soon as you can whether you want to or don't want to participate in a given round. Once you start meeting a couple of companies, you can start putting together a investment memo for yourself just so you have some record of what you liked about these companies, what you didn't like about them, some criteria that you are using to evaluate these companies. Just mark all that stuff down so you have a diary almost of what companies you've met, what you found, what you felt when you met these companies, and you have something to refer back to. Thanks again for joining me on InvestStream. I hope you found the video useful. This was just a little bit of information that I could share in a short amount of time on what some of the things are that you can do to get started as an angel investor. And if you are already an active angel investor, please leave a comment in the section below and tell me what are some of the things that you do and what are some of the things that you did when you were just starting out. I would appreciate it, and I'm sure a lot of other people can benefit from it as well. I'll see you again next time. Thanks for joining me.